Hello and welcome to episode 70 of Mouse's Makes. Today's goal is to record, edit and upload this video without ruining it like I did the last two. Anyway, lots to tell you today, and I should really be on Zoom, so I'm going to possibly whiz through it a bit quicker than I should. I've started recording on a Tuesday because I used to record on a Wednesday and upload on a Wednesday, and I'd been asked could I put more information on the screen, and so editing takes me much longer, and I was really struggling to get it all done in time for it to go up at 3 o'clock. So I've started recording on a Tuesday, and then it gives me more time to get edited. Usually I've been doing it on a Tuesday afternoon, but I'm wondering if I'm just a little bit overtired by then after quite a few hours on Zoom. So my intention was to get up earlier and do it a bit more quickly, but that didn't happen. I was knitting on a sock and yeah, got sucked into that sock knitting wormhole. So I'm a bit later than I wanted to be, and as I say, I should be on Zoom. So I'm gonna try and be quick. She says having waffled on for a minute and a half. Okay, quick reminder about the Mouse's October Make Along 2022. There is hashtag on Instagram for just showing what you're working on. If you want to enter your finished object, it's Mouse's Makes October Mal 2022 FO. There are also threads on Ravelry, one for just sharing and one for putting your finished objects into. Going back to Instagram, just a reminder that if your account is set to private and I'm not following you, I won't be able to see your hashtag. That's something I forgot to mention before, so bear that in mind. You can also email me your entries at mousesmakes@gmail.com or message me on Instagram if you're not sure how to upload. Everything is in the description box below. If you're watching this on your television, you'll have to go on your phone or your tablet or your laptop to see the description box. I think that was everything I had to say about that. I have failed to make the prizes as yet. I promise they will be done by the end of the make along, which is the 31st of October. Should have mentioned that as well, shouldn't I? Okay. I think that's everything about that. The next thing I received this very lovely box of yarn from a viewer. I remember somebody contacting me on Instagram and asking me if I'd like it, or it might have been by email. It might have been an email. I didn't think to look there. That's only just occurred. But there's no note or return address or anything, so I don't know who sent it. So if it was you, please let me know so that I can thank you properly. But in case you don't want to do that, thank you so much. This will all be very well used. That was my mystery this week. Okay. Better gone with some knitting stuff really, hadn't I? I finished something. If you're in the Facebook group, you might know what I finished, because I did share it there, but I only shared it there to give them a bit of an exclusive. Let me make sure it's the right way around. I finished my Stephen West. There's no way I can get it all in. I'm going to add a picture here that I took with it blocking on the washing line of me standing next to it for perspective. It looks like it's been taken from a weird angle. It hasn't. That is how big it is. It is enormous. It is a little bit too enormous. I think it's going to get used as a schlanket, I think they call them, rather than a shawl, because to wear it around my neck as I do my normal shawls, like a scarf, way too big. But I did enjoy knitting it, and so I thought what I'll do, I should show you the pattern really, because I never say the name for fear of offending a certain person. This is the pattern. It's by Stephen West, and my goal was to get it finished before the mystery knit along. More about that later. And I have done that. So yes, what I was saying, I think what I'm going to do is knit it again, but smaller, so about half the size. So maybe finish here. I think that will be a much more usable size, and still put the border on, but that will only add about 3-4 inches, so I will get rid of that much, which doesn't look a great deal, but when it's on both sides, and remember it's down as well as outwards, that's I think what is making it so huge. So it's not on there yet, but all the details will be on my project on Ravelry. I'm not going to go through it all again today, because every time I've shown it to you, I've told you about it all. So if this is your first time of watching, and this is the first time you've seen it, either pop onto Ravelry or pop back to the last episode. That's all I've finished. I have got a half finished object, so I've got a foe and a hoe, and by that I do not mean an enemy and a gardening implement. That's not where you thought I was going with that, is it? Yes, I've finished the first of my totally cabled mitts. I'm going to show it to you like this rather than put it on, because when I put it on it just distorts all the cable, because my arm twists and then it all looks weird. So yeah, this is the underside, if you like, with the thumb gusset. That little leaf is where it was last time you saw it. And this is the outside, the back of the mitt. It's just gorgeous. I've not started the other one yet, because I got a little bit involved in casting on Christmas things, because I had a casting on desire, and I knew that I must not cast on any more things for myself, although I have done too. But mostly I've been casting on Christmas gifts, so that's allowed. The only thing I would say about this, I mean, I've spoken before about the complications I had with the pattern. The only one thing I would say is that the thumb, and I'm sure it's to prevent messing up the cabling, the thumb is in a bit of a weird place. That's not really where my thumb is. It's kind of here rather than there. But when they're on, I mean, it twists around a little bit, but it twists around a little bit anyway when you're wearing it. So yeah, the pattern is totally cabled, and it's by Linda Lehman. I'm not sure how you pronounce her name. It started pronounce her name. And the yarn is by Fibre Spates. It's their Vivacious 4-ply, and in the colourway Peach Bellini, which is really lovely autumnal colours. Speaking of which, and I should have mentioned this before, I'm wearing for the first time my I called it my Autumn Stripes sweater, which is my own design. It's just a simple raglan sweater. I'll tell you in a second. Yeah, it's all knit in Stylecraft Special DK, apart from the ribbing, which was some leftover Sirdar jewel spun. So the colours are, let me see if I can remember. mustard, gold, gingerbread, copper, burgundy and khaki. And for those of you, you know who you are, Zoom ladies who were laughing at that, the correct pronunciation is khaki, not khaki. Khaki means something entirely different where I'm from. Google it if you don't believe me and stop laughing at me. Right, this sweater and the cardigan that I was wearing last episode, I did put on what pattern that cardigan was from, and then I deleted accidentally the first 10 minutes of the podcast, so you lost all of that. So I'm going to add that down below. It's a Sirdar pattern. I don't know that it's still in print, but you can possibly get it from eBay or somewhere like that. And I used the numbers to, it's a sweater and a cardigan on the pattern. I used the numbers for this sweater. So I'll put that pattern down below, but it's just a basic raglan sweater really. I've knit the cardigan from that pattern several times. I think the only one I've got left is the one I was wearing last week. But it's a really simple pattern. You don't have to put the colour work in. I've knit it plain and I've knit it in a self-striping yarn, a variegated yarn. I've done all sorts with it. It's a really good basic pattern. I'll stick it down below. That's all I wanted to say about that, I think. I'm a bit vague today, and the reason I'm doing it earlier in the day, as well as what I said earlier. Sunday I was out for most of the day and I seriously overdid it, and don't all yell at me. I didn't drink all day because I didn't want to need the loo. It didn't work. I still needed the loo, which meant that as well as the things that I went out to do, I had to walk all the way up the hill to Marks and Spencer's and then back down again, and I think that really did not help. So yesterday, Monday, I was absolutely wiped out, and I woke up and my eyes were so swollen because my kidneys weren't clearing everything away because I hadn't drunk enough, that it actually hurt to look down. They were so puffy and swollen underneath, and they're still a little bit today, you can see. So I thought I'd get this done early because I'm more than likely going to need to go back to bed this afternoon for a bit, because I did yesterday. Yesterday I went to bed at 8:30. Ewan came in from work at 9:30. Didn't hear him. Knew nothing. Had to get up at 2 o'clock to spend a penny. The next thing I knew, it was about 6:30 this morning. So I seriously overdid it. So if I'm a little bit vague and wandery and forgetting words, that's why. New cast-ons. I spent a lot of time yesterday fiddling about with this. I'm not sure it's going to go anywhere. Please don't laugh, crochet people. Can you tell what it's meant to be? It's supposed to be a star. The pattern I was using is called Rainbow Stars Blanket, I think, and it's a DK pattern, but of course you can do these things in any way. You just have to adjust your in this case hook size and how much yarn you're going to need, because obviously quantities are going to differ. It's not gone quite according to plan, but it was my first attempt and I am a very novice crocheter. All the stitches are where they should be. It's a bit like, was it Les Dawson used to say all the notes? No, was it Morecambe and Wise? Someone used to say he's playing all the right notes, just not in the right order. I think that's kind of a description for my poor little wonky star. I suppose if you put it... Yeah, no, there's no helping it. It's wonky. So that was kind of a cast on that I think is not going to go any further. That may be a step too far in my crochet journey so far. So I did cast that on. I also cast on, I showed you the pattern last week, I think, the porcelain cat mitts, but I've literally got 2 rows of ribbing, so there's no point showing you those. Hopefully next week there'll be more to show you. This is one of my Christmas gift cast-ons, but I am 100% certain the person it's for doesn't watch the podcast, so I'm safe to show it to you. This is going to be a cowl. I'm knitting it as a tube, and the plan is to either Kitchener or mattress stitch it up, a bit like a litmus cowl, so that it's one continuous tube. The yarn I'm using, this is Stylecraft Batik DK in indigo, which is 1914 is the code. I made a love note out of this, which I failed to love. It's since gone to the charity shop. I think in the States you call it the Goodwill. Yeah. It grew in the wash and wasn't overly struck on the colour, and I couldn't get the lace to block and lay flat, so there was like a little pointy up bit. I just wasn't loving it, so it's gone. But I had 2 50-gram balls left. So this is the first one. And then when that ran out, I've moved on to this, which is Hayfield Spirit DK. I think the colourway is Melody. I bought this and 2 other balls in different colours on a trip to Hobbycraft a couple of weeks back, and they were on 3 for £5, 3 for 2. Yeah, 3 for 2, sorry, 3 for 2 at the time. So I got this one to make Christmas presents, and the other 2 will probably be for me. When you see the colours, I can't show you at the moment because they're in the bottom box of 3 and I'm not getting them out. You will eventually see them because this pattern is my plan for those 2 as well, but in different colours, obviously. There is no pattern. It is just something I'm making up as I go along. Again, it's on my Ravelry page under Fiona's Cowl. But basically I cast on 120 stitches on a 6-inch 4mm circular needle, joined in the round, just knitting stocking stitch until that ball ran out, moved on to this one. When this one runs out, I'm going to move on to that one. Then I'm going to either mattress stitch, as I say, or Kitchener it together to make it one big loop. That's all there is to it, really. It's not exactly rocket science. But I am very pleased, bearing in mind the yarns weren't bought to go together. I'm very pleased with how it's coming out. I don't think you can really see as well on the camera, but it does look like it was meant to be. So that's quite good. I'm pleased with that. And I'm probably halfway, no, not halfway, 1/3 of the way through it. So that's knitting up quite quickly. Perversely, I've got 2 colourwork sweaters that I'm now on the body, and it's just round and round stocking stitch, that I have no interest in knitting, but I want to knit that, which is round and round stocking stitch. I don't know. I don't know. One of the sweaters I want to wear next week, so if I'm going to do that, I need to really crack on with it, don't I? Anyhow, that was my new cast-ons. I really have raced through this. I'm very sorry. I've been very quick. Right, when I was talking about the Stephen West, I said more about that later. So here is the more about it later. quite a lot of people, I think, are joining in with the new Stephen West MKAL Twists and Turns, which starts next week. And I was thinking, why don't we have an informal knit along? No prize or anything, just one of the best things about doing an MKAL, or any kind of knit along really, is the fact that you're part of a community all doing the same thing. And last year I did an MKAL for the first time, pardon me, and I really loved that. I really enjoyed that. There were quite a few of us on the Zoom group knitting it, and we were encouraging each other, and we were knitting at different speeds so somebody could help you out with the bit you were having trouble with. It was really fun. So I thought, why don't we do that? Why don't we do that between us? So I think the easiest way, and I know it's not accessible for anybody, and I do apologise, everybody rather, I do apologise for that. But sometimes it's that old thing, you can please all of the people some of the time and some of the people all of the time, isn't it? I do try and find things to be inclusive for the maximum amount of people that I can, but sometimes I just can't manage it. So what all that waffle was about, I'm going to open a thread on the Ravelry group, Mouses Makes Ravelry group. Again, I'll put the link down below, but you don't really need the link. Just search Mouses Makes and forums, I think it is, and you'll find the thread. And really, it's just for us all to hang out and chat about what we're doing, and oh, I hated this bit, oh really, that was my favourite bit, and that kind of thing, you know. The other thing I thought about was, I don't know whether to announce this now or not because I might back out. I'm thinking about doing Vlogmas, but I might do it in a slightly different way to everybody else. So as kind of a dry run, I was going to do sort of a Vlogtober. And what I mean by sort of is, I thought, and I have a bit of trauma about this, I thought what I'll do is on a Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock British summertime, I'll go live on Facebook. Not Facebook, this is not Facebook. Told you my brain wasn't quite fully functioning, didn't I? But then when is it ever? 2 o'clock Saturday afternoons British summertime, YouTube. I'm going to try and go live. I'm going to start it this coming Saturday, which is the 1st of October. Obviously, the MKAL hasn't started yet, but I thought we could chat about colours, and I'll give you a bit of a rundown of what I've been doing during the week. So kind of blog style, but hopefully crossing everything, including my eyes. If it works, you can chat back to me about what your colours are and whether this is your first one or your 91st. I don't know how many there've been. I think this might be the 13th or 14th. But that's the plan, is that we can interact on a Saturday afternoon just for about half an hour, not for a long time, just so that, again, it's trying to feel that sense of community that we're all doing it together. I believe, obviously this all went very, very wrong last time I tried it, but it should work this time. I believe it will record that and it will be available for people to watch afterwards if they want to, I think. So we'll try it Saturday and we'll see how it goes, and if it's an unmitigated disaster, then my backup plan is to go live on Facebook. But I know fewer people have access to Facebook than they do to YouTube, so let's hope plan A works. Right, the last thing I must tell you about before I go is that I won a prize. if any of you, and I think some of you do, watch the Soxy Nana podcast with the lovely Alice, Soxy Nana Alice, I won a prize. I won 2 free patterns in a giveaway she was doing, and they were from a designer local to her, I believe, called Family Tree Knits. And I won 2 free patterns. I'm holding in my hand 3. So I chose the Birthstone Cowl. I haven't cast any of these on yet because I'm such a good girl. And that has, I'm doing it again. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. Birthstone Cowl. And on the back it's got a birthstone colour chart, which is excellent. Very clever idea. And I also chose this sock pattern, which Alice has been knitting herself, and I thought were really nice. So that was my 2 free patterns. But I couldn't just stop at those, because obviously I looked through all the patterns to choose which ones I wanted. And I then bought these. These are the Wildflower Seed socks by that same designer, and I have got a similar pattern, but I just really liked them, so I thought, to hell with it, I'm going to get it. The bonus was, well, I'm not going to tell you actually. If you want to know what the bonus was, you're going to have to go and watch Alice's podcast, her latest podcast, and you'll find out what the bonus was. That's sneaky of me, isn't it? Alice is desperately trying to get her subscriber numbers up. So if you're not a subscriber, think about popping over and having a look and giving her a like and a subscribe, and possibly getting a pattern, cheap pattern. Shh. The other thing is, I happen to have a code. I have a code for a free pattern from this same designer. And what I thought I would do is offer it as a prize on today's podcast. So if you're one of the people who puts up with me right until the very end, drop a comment below, and next week I'll pick a winner, and that winner will get a code to get 1 free prize from Family Tree Knits. I'm trying to think. I know what we'll do. If you want to enter for your free pattern code, and there is only one, I'm afraid, comment below, and in your comment put Soxy Nana Alice. So for example, you could say, I also watch Soxy Nana Alice, or I've just been over and subscribed to Soxy Nana Alice. That would be a good one. So why don't you do that, and then next week we'll draw and see who won a free pattern from Family Tree Knits, local to Alice in Manitoba, I think, in Canada. Alice is certainly in Manitoba, don't know about the designer. Right, that's that. I better write it down, because I only thought of that just now, and I will forget it the minute I press stop, because that's how my brain works, or doesn't, as the case may be. That is definitely all for today. I've managed to condense it down into just about 30 minutes, which I know will not please some of you, and I do apologise. I know some of you like a longer visit, and we'll try and have a longer visit next week. But until then, I'm going to say happy knitting, and I'll see you later. Bye guys.